Welcome back to the garage, guys. Today we've got an interesting video. So we're going to be working on something out of this tank here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be building an offset smoker. A lot of you guys probably don't know, but one of the hobbies Jackson and I have is doing barbecue contests. I think Jackson was 13 years old when he won his first barbecue contest and got a check for it. So, and he went and took the money and bought fireworks, if I remember right. So we do have a big offset smoker, one that's on a trailer. It'll do about 30 racks of ribs at a time, but it's just too big to do everyday cooks or a weekend cook for the family. So I'd been looking around for a tank for a long time, and I came across this tank. So I picked it up off of Craigslist, and we're going to use the JD's Garage plasma cutter, and we're going to cut out the firebox, the vents. We're going to notch the legs. So we've got a whole plan with this thing, how we're going to use the JD's Garage plasma cutter to speed up the build and get this thing done. One of the things, I cut off the plate of this tank, and this is one heavy duty tank. This tank was built in 1960. So it had been used as an air compressor tank from the guy I got it from. So we're not concerned about having to evacuate propane or anything from the tank. So we've stripped off the fittings. We've done that already. And then we have these massive legs on here. We did go ahead and get these legs cut off. You can see where they were mounted right here. So we've got those done, got them knocked off. And we've also got a horizontal line marked on here. That's going to be the bottom of our door. So the first thing we're going to do in the build is we're going to work on getting the door cut out. So what we've done, guys, is we've put a straight edge on here. We offset it a 1/2 inch from our line because that's how much of a guide we have on our drag. And we just ratchet strapped it onto the tank. So we're going to use that as a guide. We're going to cut from black tape to black tape. And then we're going to radius a corner and leave about a 1 inch on each side because we don't want the door to come out yet. We'll cut that off with an angle grinder at the end. So we're going to go ahead and give this a try. So Jackson did some math compared to our plasma cutter, and it should take about 2 minutes to cut that. So we're going to see. He won the coin toss, so he's going to do the cutting. We're going to see how it goes. Ready? Yep. So we made a nice cut along here, real nice cut. Looks good. Jackson did a good job. We had one little mess up there. He tripped. He caught his boots on something on the floor, made a little cut, but that's easily fixable. I think you heard his expletive when he was cutting, but real nice straight cut along there. We're going to get this straight edge moved to the top of the door and get that cut. Well, we've got the straight edge moved, and we're going to make another cut for the top of the door. We've got it all lined up. Well, it must have been beginner's luck on the first cut because the first cut is just about perfect. The second cut looks really nice once we went in the direction from left to right, but when we were going right to left, it kept wanting to pull off the track. So we don't know if that has to do with the swirl in the torch, the way it swirls, but this gets a 1 inch band put around it anyway. We'll know it's there, but nobody else will unless they've watched the video. But it should be fine.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
One of the things that we do now is we take a cutoff wheel and we're going to go down in the kerf and clean it up. I've read where it's easier to clean it up now with a cutoff wheel than it is to separate the door and try and do it with a regular grinding wheel. So we'll get those cleaned up. We'll move on to the vertical cuts now. So we've got the cuts done, and we went ahead and we put a little radius around the corners. So we're going to try and clean this up now with the angle grinder. We're going to try and finish the cuts to the corner with the angle grinder. So I'm going to give that a whirl.
That might be able to hang on.
Well, it's loose now.
Yeah. Door.
Just like that. Well, we fished the door out. Got it out of there. Got a pretty nice opening cut here. So we're on to the next steps.
So we've got the legs notched here. Just pop those off. And got nice cuts on them. We got the angles. We did draw a center line down them. And so we could clock the notches in the same spot. And the center line is also going to serve as a reference when we weld on the supports. So we'll get to the supports next. So remember when we notched these out, we put a center line on them, and that's where this plate is going to go between the legs, right down that center line. So we know if we put it on there, our notches will match up to the tank on there. We also stepped these out because we didn't intend to weld this whole thing, and by stepping it out, it'll allow to get some paint or other protective material in there. If we just put the whole thing up against the tube and spot weld it, it'll start rusting in these cracks, so we decided to do that. So what we did, guys, when we cut out the door opening, we've got the tank upside down now, but what we did is we had the tank sitting on these two bungs that are along the bottom. We just had it sitting upside down, and we measured up, made a parallel line, and cut the door. So now we're just going to level the tank using those same bungs, and we'll get the legs put on. We already ground out a little spot where the legs are going to sit. We'll take the angle finder and we'll measure on each side, and we'll make sure we got the same angle. But if you look at our notching from our plasma cutter, it made a real nice notch on there. It's matching up to the tank real well. It's going to be easy to weld in there, both of these. So we'll set the same angle on the two legs, and then we'll take the angle finder and we'll put it in here and set this to 90 degrees and make sure that we have it all squared up. Hopefully that works for getting the legs on properly. So we've got it tacked in place now. We can see that we're on 90 degrees there. And if we take the angle finder, we're at 76.6 on that leg and 76.75. I mean, we're splitting tenths of degrees there, guys. It's looking pretty good. So in order to get this second set of legs on, we did it a little bit different. So what we did is we just zeroed the angle finder on the far leg, and then we put it on this leg. So, and we just moved it till we had the same. So, and it's hopefully they turn out parallel. So it's just fluctuating back and forth a little bit, but so we've got them on the two legs. Those should be parallel. Everything should sit flat on the ground. So we're going to get this other side welded in. Well, we're pretty happy with that, guys. Took a little bit to get her tipped up, but boy, there's no rock on there. We got lucky. It fits tight to the ground. We'll get some plates welded underneath there for the casters. It'll raise it up about 7 inches, but that sucker, give it a rock, Jackson. See if we can get a rock out of it. Not much of anything, huh? Well, guys, we only got a few hours into this tank. We got the door cut out, we got the legs on, we got the leg supports. We're pretty happy with the progress. We're going to end this video here. Next video, we're going to pick it up. We're going to work on the collector, cutting out the parts. We're going to work on, if we get to it, on the firebox, getting the firebox cut out and welded together. With that, thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to like and subscribe.